My name is Angela.
My name is Nicole.
And welcome to the Ominous Stitch podcast. Hello, Stitchers.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to another amazing episode of the Ominous Stitch podcast.
Yay!
We have had quite a week, Nicole.
Holy crud, everybody.
Should we just dive into stitches? Because this is
Yes.
going to be a long podcast.
It's going to be a very long episode.
So let's dive into our stitches because your stitch is insane.
Guys, oh my gosh.
Insane.
I'm not going to dive into too much, but just know hospitals are not fun.
Yeah.
So my hub's had a scare. He had 2 back-to-back seizures.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say his age. He's 41. He won't care. But we had to go to the ER. He was at the urgent care. We thought it was like he was having some severe back pains and shoulder pains. And I had to witness him keel over.
Yeah.
Hit his head on the ground.
It's
and
the scariest thing in the world, Nicole.
Yeah. I've never. Yeah. I don't ever want to relive
seizures
that.
are new to him, but we found out that it was something that, he was born with, and then it just had never happened.
Yeah. So the neurologist said it's something with his brain. We had tons of tests done. It's been insane. So we don't know for sure. They said it's something genetic, but that's just still hard to believe because his age, that shouldn't be happening.
It should have happened when he was in his 20s or 30s
or even younger. Yeah. So we're gonna get another neurologist to come in and examine him. But man, it's been insane, guys.
Dude, so crazy.
Yeah.
I tried to do, and can I just say, Nicole is a superwoman.
No,
like the way that you handled this, and I was trying so hard to help, and she's like, no, I got it figured out. And she and her husband maintained a positive attitude the whole time. They were cracking jokes.
It's the only way to handle stuff like that.
I love that you handle it with humor
Thank
and
you.
grace.
Man.
And I'm in awe of how strong you are and how you were able to handle everything.
Yeah.
I was talking to my husband about it. I'm like, I would have forgotten about the kids at school. I would have been like, I don't know.
It was
insane, had people
though.
been like, can I pick up your kids? I'm like, oh yeah.
No. Yeah. But we're on the mend, thankfully. No seizures. Thankfully, he's on anti-seizure medicine. And I'll keep you guys posted on what it really is. Because I'm not 100% sure this neurologist that looked at him at this hospital was accurate. So
yeah. And it's always crazy when you're dealing with doctors in the hospital because they're, very much factual and this is what it is.
Yes.
They're talking fast. They're using big words and they're talking about things that are completely foreign to you, but they're talking like it's normal for them. And you're still in shock because you just watched your husband have a seizure.
It was insane.
And you're like, what? Huh? Yeah. And he's like, I already explained it. And you're like, but no information stuck in my brain because I'm in so much shock. I have no idea what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's frustrating to deal with doctors.
Dang it, doctors.
And then also,
I know they're trying to help, but
but then also they weren't listening to other symptoms that your husband had. So you had to go back.
Yes. So we had to go back to the ER. They released us. He didn't want to be in a hospital. And he was in a room fine by himself. And then they put another patient in that was got shot.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yes.
I didn't know why he was in there.
So Friday he was the Friday that he was in there. They put another patient in. This guy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Apparently, they're a little ghetto. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So he got insane just sitting there listening to them talk, and so he really wanted to leave Friday, and we did, but they never gave us pain meds. So Saturday we had to come back to the ER because they were like, he's in so much pain, and they're like, oh yeah, you got some fractures in your back and your shoulder. We're like, what the heck?
They didn't even
help him with that
look at
before.
That.
No.
Oh my gosh.
So thankfully,
and now your blood pressure is high. So you have to stay again.
They wouldn't even let us go the day we were at the ER because they're like, your blood pressure is way too high. We're giving you meds. Let's get it down. And it never went down. I was like, because he's in pain and he had seizures. Come on, of course he's gonna have high blood pressure.
Connect the dots. La la la.
But it's been not an adventure that I care to go on, but I kept telling him things happen for reasons, even though it's not the happiest, outlook on life. And maybe this happened because maybe we had to look at a blood pressure issue, or maybe it was like, if he never had it, maybe we would have never caught certain things, you know? So it's the worst way to do it, but I'm kind of trying to be as optimistic as I can that we're like addressing a lot of things.
I love that you're looking at the positive takeaways for this. I mean, yes, he needs to slow down. He needs to calm down. He needs to find ways to bring down and meditate.
And this is for everybody out there. Just try to chill.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Holy cow.
It is so important to find ways to relax and bring that blood pressure down. Yeah. Because you don't want to just seize and fall on your face.
No, blood pressure, cortisol levels, etc., etc. So I'm going to be doing a lot more yoga. Yeah. Walks, lots of walks. Yeah. So, but we'll keep you updated, everyone. So it's been crazy.
Yeah. I've seen him. He's looking way better than I was expecting him to look. He's doing way better. So I'm really glad for that. So I'm so happy that things are good. We had a good outcome through this crazy scare.
Yes.
And you are a rock star and handling things
you're so
sweet. Insanely well.
I'm trying.
I'm very proud of you.
I'm on edge, but I'm okay.
I'm on the edge.
Way to put a song in there.
Thanks.
So what's got you in stitches?
Okay. So the cutest thing happened yesterday. My daughter came home from school and she was just all buzzing about her math class and super excited about what
Youngest,
happened.
oldest?
My oldest. Okay. So she's in 6th grade. Okay. 6th grade. So she's in math class and they're learning some new concept. And her math teacher said, "Tell me why." And then the whole class goes, "Ain't nothing but a heartache."
Yes.
Right?
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. My
6th
kids
grade,
know
man. Good.
Backstreet Boys.
Yes.
And apparently the teacher was like, "Yes." I sang that to every single class and you guys are the only ones that like sang the song. Yay. And like knew what was going on. And my daughter was like, "That's because we're the cool class."
Yes.
And we know these things. And so they sang the whole song.
Oh, that's amazing.
And one of the girls in the class was like, "I have no idea what's going on." Because so the teacher's "Oh, let me show you." So then the teacher stopped the class and then pulled up on YouTube the video for that song. And so they watched Backstreet Boys in the middle of class and they all sing along.
For the teacher.
Apparently they were so loud that the class next door came in and they're like, "What's going on in here?"
Are you getting your education?
But I love it.
That's so amazing.
Backstreet
I love
Boys
it.
lives on. And my kids can sing that whole song.
Good.
I can't sing it. My kids can.
Yes. That's when you know your kids are on the right path.
Right?
Yeah. Got that Backstreet Boys education.
Backstreet's back. All right.
I love it though. That's amazing. Good
I thought
teacher.
That was the cutest thing.
Yeah. Good class.
Yeah.
She is in a good class.
Yeah. And then my daughter was like, "And then we finished math class early and we had time to spare."
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, that's so good."
That would be the best math class ever.
Right?
Yeah.
How fun.
Good.
So shout out to my daughter in her math class.
Woot, woot.
Doing math right. Making your parents proud.
Oh, that's an uplifting story.
Yes. Okay, so we have a lot to do.
Oh my gosh, yes. Today's a long episode, sorry. So buckle in.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get stitching.
Yay!
Okay, Stitchers. So for this week's stitch,
which I love,
let me tell you the story of the progression of how I found this. Okay. So YouTube, we know, is a wonderful thing and also loves to make fun suggestions.
Always.
Right? So I was on YouTube just kind of scrolling through, and the first thing, actually, I wasn't even scrolling. It was the first thing that popped up on my YouTube was the pattern or a video for this pattern. Okay. And it wasn't a demonstration video. It was just a video of the model standing with this shawl.
Just standing there, lovely.
And they're like, if you want to make this shawl, visit our website. And I was like, okay, I will.
Yay.
I thought this shawl was so cool. I did. I know. They got me. Clickbait. They got me. So I went to the website. The website is, my eyes are too small. Or my eyes are too small. The print is too small. Old eyes. We got it. We're there. We all know I'm old. I just had a colonoscopy. It's good. Okay. So the website is expressionfiberarts.
Ooh, I like that.
Expressionfiberarts.com.
We are fiber artists.
We are fiber artists.
I love that. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Okay.
So expressionfiberarts.com. And they're so sweet because it's all very zen and very, you are a wonderful, beautiful soul for coming and finding us.
Oh,
and
I love it.
Very sweet. So
Welcoming.
The pattern that I pulled up, and it's free
hey,
right now.
Free's best.
So that's so good. You can download it for free. It's called Dantelina.
Dantelina?
Dantelina. Dantelina. From expressionfiberarts.com. And the creator, the designer of this is Tatha Lorenzen. And she has a website too, stitchedinlovecrocheting.com.
All these nice
stitchedinlovecrocheting.com
websites.
So she designed this, and it's a really easy pattern to memorize. Basically, it's a 2-row repeat.
Okay.
You do have to keep in mind the center of the thing, because if the center stitch is different, then
it looks wrong.
The rest of it. Yes. Because if you don't do the center stitch, your stitch count is going to be wrong.
Sure.
But basically, you're dealing with chains, a lot of chaining, and you have a double crochet with a picot on it. And then that's it.
Really?
So, and I think a single crochet every once in a while.
That's easy.
So one row is a bunch of chain 7s that you're connecting in different spots.
Okay.
And the other row is you're making what they call fan patterns.
Ooh.
And it's a double crochet with a picot, and you do 3 of them alternating with a single crochet depending upon which loop you're doing them into.
Wow.
So it's very simple. Like once you understand what the pattern is, it's very simple. You can make this as long as you want. Like we'll show you pictures, and they have this beautiful big long shawl, and it's perfect for summertime because we're moving into summertime. Even though we're back in the 60s right now, but over the weekend it was in the 90s. It was like so
our
hot.
weather's all over the place right now.
California weather, man, crazy. So, but I picked this one because it has it's this big, beautiful, lacy, big holes in it, and I was like, ooh, like portals. It fits theme. So that's why I chose it.
Cool.
But check it out. It's a very easy shawl.
I want to do it
to make, and it goes fast too. So yeah, I
Yay!
recommend doing it.
I want to do it so bad now.
DantelinaFiberArts.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got that.
All right. So that's my stitch for this week.
Oh, it's perfect. We'll post pictures because she's so close to she's like halfway done. She's so fast.
Oh, I wish I was halfway done. I want to make it big.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, I love it. Yay.
Okay. Are we ready to get into story time?
Holy cow. Yes, it's story time.
It's story time.
This week's episode is not spooky per se, but it definitely is mysterious. And these are actual places you can visit. Most of them.
Ooh.
Maybe not one, but we'll see.
Okay.
So do you ever wonder about actual Stargates
or
portals?
All the time.
I always say, well, that's kind of my go-to when something happens and we can't explain.
Well, I was raised in the space industry.
That's right.
So, that was always like, my dad is very much a science fiction nut.
Yes.
So I watched all the Star Trek and Star Trek a lot. And yes, Star Wars as well, and Stargate.
Yeah.
And Babylon 5 and all of these sci-fi shows.
They're
Watched
so
a lot
fun,
of those growing up. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. And my dad is a physicist, studied string theory.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I thought it was just NASA. I was like, oh, he's NASA.
No. He has his doctorate in physics. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he'll like this episode.
I'm sure he will. Dad, he has a couple of episodes to catch up on, but he listens. Oh, so hi, Daddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, shout out. All right. So do you think aliens have ever visited Earth?
Yes.
Through the use of Stargates?
It makes the most sense because otherwise it would take way too long to get to us. Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Well, cool. So maybe did they help develop civilizations on Earth?
Yes.
I'm going to, I'm all ancient aliens right now.
I know.
I'm going to jump around. I did actually have to watch a couple Ancient Alien episodes.
Oh, you did? How fun.
Just to like kind of see what their take was on it. And I was like, okay, so I'm kind of like not going all in like they do, but I am hitting a lot of places that they've talked about.
Okay.
So, there were like way more Stargates and portals listed on the websites everywhere, but I'm kind of going into the ones that are still kind of mysterious and ones, like I said, you can visit and see them. It's pretty cool. But just know that the term Stargate is a recent term used for fictional purposes, i.e., like you said, the movie Stargate in 94, Stargate. Right? But it seems like it is dated as early as in the 1950s. But the phrase Gate of the Gods, you're going to hear that a lot or similar to that, right, is transcribed in many languages and cultures for over thousands of years.
Yes.
So the first one we're going to go to is in Hayu Brand, a mountainous region in Peru near Lake Titicaca. And I can't laugh. I know. I'm going to laugh every time I say that.
Yes, you are. It's so funny.
I know we're not mature at all, right? So yeah, Lake.
Oh, our listeners are laughing too. Titicaca. Everybody say it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Take a stitch every time we laugh at Titicaca.
It's terrible, but it's okay. But it's true. It's the place.
Okay.
Now, a little background about the area. So the Incan civilization was known to inhabit the area and most likely began around the 12th to 13th century, right? Mm-hmm. But sadly, due to the Spanish conquest of South America, which I'll discuss soon, it's known that the Incan civilization existed for only 400 years.
Yeah.
So it was really short.
Yeah.
Yet, as we further our scientific methods and research, there are supposedly many ancient Incan sites that predate the Incans themselves. There's a city in ruins near Lake Titicaca that is called Tiwanaku, and so far archaeologists know that the Incans didn't build the city. They still do not know who did.
Oh,
it's so ancient.
That's cool.
Isn't that crazy? What's fascinating is that there's evidence of humans inhabiting the area around the lake for the last 4,000 years. And archaeologists believe these ancient peoples were responsible for advanced and precise stonework that's been found all over South America.
Oh, how cool.
So over 4,000 years ago.
Dude.
It's crazy.
That's
and even then, that's still a blink of an eye in the span of the evolution of the world. But still, that's pretty cool.
That's a long time ago for
using
humans.
Advanced technology. That, So there's also a sunken city and temple that sits at the bottom of Lake Titicaca, in which never get old, in which archaeologists believe that the ancient civilization was also responsible in creating. Lead diver Lorenzo Epis in 2000 reported finding a 200-meter long and 50-meter wide holy temple, a terrace for crops, a pre-Incan road, and an 800-meter long containing wall at the bottom of the lake.
Dude.
So there's so much down there. Ancient civilization, dude.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to any ancient ruins?
No, I want to. I've never been.
So we got married in Belize, and so they have Mayans there,
yes.
right?
Oh,
so lots of Mayan
That's
temples.
So cool.
We got to go visit a bunch of Mayan ruins and stuff. It's fascinating. It's so cool to see just and climb to the top of these temples and the top of these structures that they've uncovered
thousands of years ago.
It's amazing.
It's so cool. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go so bad. One day. Also, it has been revealed that nearly 10,000 people inhabited the ancient city of Tiwanaku. But again, no one exactly knows what happened to everyone.
Yeah.
Mystery. Some claim they became the Incan civilization, but what we know is the Tiwanaku city flourished from about 400 BCE to 1000 CE, and the Incan civilization did not emerge until around the 12th to 13th century, as I mentioned before.
It's so interesting to me, like what wipes out
a whole civilization.
Yeah. And then it comes back and rebuilds
exactly
later.
Right.
How does that happen, Nicole?
I don't know. Mysteries, man. Mysteries we'll never know until we go to the beyond, but I have no idea. There's no direct evidence linking the two civilizations, and there's a lack of archaeological and historical records from the period between the decline of Tiwanaku and the rise of the Inca. So like you said, we have a missing
link.
Idea. Yeah.
Missing link.
Crazy. So with all that said, We jumped to 1996, where Jose Luis Delgado Mamani, a local tour guide, was trekking across Hayu Brand to familiarize himself with the area. At one point, something called out to him, and upon further examination, he stumbled upon what is now called Aramu Muru, or Puerta de Hayu Marca, Door of Hayu Marca, or the Gate of the Gods.
Oh, cool.
So I have a small picture for I'll post this.
That's so cool.
It's huge, okay? So this is set into the side of the Hayu Marca mountain and this massive doorway carved into the rock face. It measures about 7 meters high, which is for us 23 feet. I know we need a better metric system. I'm sorry. But 23 feet. I was like, oh, I can know that. I don't know meters, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's 7 meters wide. So again, 23 feet wide, with the smaller door shaped indentation at the bottom center, which is almost shaped like a misshaped letter T. And we don't know. There's a lot of that shape everywhere. That's crazy across the whole world. You're gonna see this weird misshapen T, which is mystery
all around the world.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And these ancient civilizations. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's cool.
There's also a small circular carved hole in the middle of the smaller door. While archaeologists believe this gate predates the Incan civilization, the site of Aramu Muru is believed to have served as a pilgrimage and worship ground for the Inca, used for ceremonial or astronomical purposes. Which brings us back to the Spanish conquest. Now, it was known to be a very brutal event where several million people died due to the violence, displacement, and the smallpox that spread like wildfire. But the popular myth among Peruvians is about one Incan priest who managed to escape the European forces. This Incan priest was known as Aramu Muru, and he was known as the priest who served in the Temple of the Seven Rays. As all Incan priests were ordered to be slaughtered, Aramu Muru was able to escape his persecution into the Hayu Marca and the City of the Gods. Several priests were able to assist him, and he also had a golden disc known as the Key of the Gods of the Seven Rays.
Oh,
yeah. This disc was kept in the Coricancha Temple in Cusco, and he traveled over 280 miles from the temple to the stone doorway. When he placed the disc on the door where that small circular indentation sits, the smaller door opened for him. This door then transformed into a tunnel or portal that was lit with an unearthly blue light. Aramu Muru entered the doorway and into the tunnel, where the door then shut behind him. Today, Peruvians believe that he is now living in the land of the gods.
Oh, wow.
What a crazy tale, huh?
Yeah.
Now, what's fascinating about the mythology and legends surrounding this gateway is that the Incan civilization believed that the world was born in Lake Titicaca.
Okay.
It was also believed that the lake was a place where their souls would return after death. In essence, the lake was the Garden of Eden and heaven combined.
Right? Okay.
From the lake arose Tiki, I'm so bad with this, sorry, Viracocha, sure. The creator god that was the father of all other Inca gods. He also formed the earth, heavens, sun, moon, and all living beings. Thus, we tie in the gate of the gods, as it is believed gods can travel through the gateway as well as man can travel to the land of the gods.
That's so cool.
So all this whole area is all tied because we think this is the center of life. And that gateway is that portal to go back and forth.
And that, okay.
But who could be the gods, though?
Who could be the gods?
Aliens. That's my theory. But because again, like, look at how advanced that civilization was for such a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they're talking about this portal that they could travel back and forth through.
Right. Yes.
So
it's fascinating.
Right?
Because, yeah. How...
I got you tongue-tied.
I can't even like wrap my brain. Because it's... How do these civilizations, and I know we're going to cover this. I'm sure we're going to cover this. How were people able to build pyramids? How were people able to do all of these things?
No, I'm just going to, we'll talk
with
about
the
a few
rudimentary
things,
tools.
Yes, exactly.
That they had, and they had such advanced knowledge of crazy technology and the way things worked. And then we lost all of that.
Then it went away.
Had to start over again and build that knowledge again and then lose it again. I mean, that happened so many times throughout history.
And it took us, I feel like, longer to figure everything out in our kind of modern day now.
Yeah. So what jump started all of that and then took it away?
Yep.
And then jump started it and then took it away.
Who knows? Aliens.
I don't know.
It could be.
And then, but and I know we're covering this because this is what today's topic is, but it's so fascinating. Like,
yes.
And what I
you got a million things going on, huh?
I can't say words. It's too many thoughts flying at me.
You'll formulate everything.
So
I'm going to go on through a lot, so don't worry about it. Okay. Another belief that is similar to this tale is set by the Native American legends. They claim that heroes of the past would go through the door to meet their gods, and that by going through the door, they would gain immortality and life next to the gods. Then some of those men would return to Earth through the gate with their gods in order to inspect their kingdoms.
Wow.
So they tie the Native American stories, and they're up in North America, to the South American stories. So there's
portals that they can go back and forth.
There's similarities
to go
to
visit
everything.
the gods
Exactly.
and then come back.
Yep.
Oh,
cool, right?
Yep.
Lastly, some believe that this gate is more of a stargate, as I was mentioning earlier, and there is a connection to the supernatural or even a portal to another dimension. It is said that those who visit the structure claim to feel safe or at peace when resting their forehead inside the smaller indentation.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So remember that small area on the door where the disc is supposed to go? People come and pilgrim. They go on pilgrimage
and they feel
the energy and the peace there. It's like just kind of goes through them. So the door. So we have two doors, right? There's a big door, one archway,
and then there's a
smaller door. Yes.
But we can't get through that door.
No, it's just a carve.
It's just a carving.
Yeah.
Oh, so the only way to get through that door is by that disc.
Yeah.
Which now is living with the gods because we don't have that disc anymore.
He totally left us.
Oh.
But that was good. He was escaping persecution, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's Hayumarku.
I love this.
Peru.
I know,
it's fun, right? Now, we're going to go only 76 miles away from Aramumuru, and it sits the ancient city of Tiahuanaco along Lake Titicaca.
Yay, Lake Titicaca.
In Bolivia now. So the lake.
Out of Peru and in Bolivia.
And I didn't know this. This is cool. I learned something new every time. So the lake is the largest freshwater lake in the Andes Mountains, and it lies on the border between Bolivia and Peru.
Interesting.
Okay? So it separates them.
Yeah.
Now these ruins, also known as Tiwanaku, yes, the ancient city I mentioned earlier. So Tiwanaku kind of is in this big area of the lake.
Okay. Yeah.
Here lies another megalithic structure known as either the Tiwanaku Sun Gate or the Gateway of the Sun.
Okay. I see the misshapen. Oh, no, that's
this
just
one's
a crack.
not.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's just a crack.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one's just a regular kind of rectangular
That looks
door.
cool. That's so cool.
So the
There's
gate,
so many carvings all over.
yes, yeah, and I'm going to go into detail about that. The gateway was first discovered and recorded in 1549 by Pedro Cieza de Leon. Then it was rediscovered by European explorers in the mid-19th century, but this time it was lying horizontally on the ground with a large crack that ran through it. The Gate of the Sun is carved from a single massive block of andesite stone.
Whoa.
Yes. It sits roughly 9 feet in height and 12.5 feet in width, and the gate opening is 4.6 feet wide. From the vintagenews.com website, it describes the top of the gate opening as it is the most prominent and intact. A bas-relief depiction of a deity whose head appears to be garnished by an interesting headdress, or perhaps these are rays emitting from its face in all directions. The deity also holds a staff in each of its 2 hands. Since the theory is that this deity represents the sun god, thus the gate is the gate of the sun. However, some speculate that the marks in the face are tears, so the figure has also been called the weeping god.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Others believe that it is a representation of a pan-Andean god, Viracocha, which I've mentioned earlier. Yeah. but the nature of the gate is still mysterious. Some say it's similar to the Gate of the Gods and that it is a portal to other dimensions or to the world of the gods. Another interpretation is that it was more of an agricultural calendar, which is very different, or the calendar gate. What is interesting is that there are figures on the gate that surround the main figure on the top, where 32 have human faces, but 16 have condors' faces.
Okay.
And if the ancient civilization was anything like the Inca civilization, condors were believed to be a messenger between the physical and spiritual worlds, and that it could provide access to the divine
I get it
realm.
because condors live so high in the mountains.
There you go.
Interesting.
So as you can see, there's the main god, and then some human faces, and then down here are the condor faces.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's it for the Gate of the Sun.
That's so cool.
So who knows? That one, I mean, it looks cool. It could be, but you never know because this one's just more of a, like, you know, it's down into the ancient realm of the civilization. Versus,
and it's freestanding.
Yes.
It's not like you're going into, you can walk through it.
Yeah. It's not like going into anything. Right?
Because I have kids and they like video games, it's like a portal for the netherworld. Right?
Oh, there you go. If you have kids, you'll know what that is. Oh, man. Okay. We're going to move on to Egypt now.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you were saying, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the ancient periods and locations in Egypt. And archaeologists, I can never say that word, archaeologists, scientists, etc., still have not unraveled everything about these locations. Okay. One location has been discussed as another possible portal or Stargate, Abu Ghurab or Abu Jirab, and it's an Arabic phrase meaning father of ravens. This is roughly 6 miles southwest of Cairo. And here lies the ruins of the second sun temple to have ever been discovered and investigated. It is believed to be built between 2465 and 2325 BCE.
Oh, gosh.
BCE. And was built to worship the sun god Re. The Sun Temple of Nusere, which I don't know if I said that right, I'm sorry, was discovered and excavated between 1898 and 1901. It is believed to be one of the oldest ceremonial sites on the planet.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is I'm showing her a picture of what it was that they thought it was, how it was built.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the geometry of the thing, like,
yes.
How do they know how to do that?
No, they don't have drones. They don't have cameras, right?
They don't even have rulers. They have very rudimentary tools on how to make this.
Unless someone came to
how
visit.
do they understand the physics and the geometry involved in building such an intricate building?
So many.
They don't have the architectural knowledge to be able to do this.
As we think.
Right? And just the manpower that it takes to build this
That's
thing,
where it gets
I'm sure. Yeah. The stones are insanely heavy.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
It's
mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling, people. I can't even say words.
It's so cool.
I'm often speechless, but this is a
fun topic,
is a bad thing for a podcaster to not be able to say words. # because words.
Because words. Well, a reconstructed depiction of the temple consisted of a rectangular walled enclosure, 100 by 76 meters, with an entrance on the eastern face. It was primarily built from mud brick covered with limestone. Inside is a large open courtyard with a colossal stone obelisk. This obelisk was constructed out of irregularly shaped limestone blocks and was estimated to be about 35 to 50 meters tall. Then in the center of the courtyard was an altar that was constructed from 5 large blocks of alabaster and arranged to form a symbol that has been translated as "May Ra be satisfied." According to records that were discovered from Userkaf's Sun Temple, it is believed that 2 oxen and 2 geese were sacrificed daily.
Daily.
Whoa.
Where
are you getting all these geese and oxen?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to show her this picture and I'm going to put this one on for sure because this is what I'm going to talk about.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So the theory behind this temple was that it was designed to create heightened spiritual awareness through the use of vibrations transmitted through the alabaster and other materials.
Nice. Okay.
This expanded awareness enabled one to connect with the sacred energies of the universe known as netters, or in very pared down terms, gods. Supposedly, the indigenous tradition teaches that the netters, in some sort of physical form, once landed and appeared in person at Abu Ghurab. Therefore, it is proposed that the alabaster platform created a harmonic resonance through sound vibrations to increase the heightened awareness and to further open the senses to communicate and be one with the netters.
Interesting.
Which further leads us to ask if this is what we call a Stargate today.
That's interesting. Right? So, I mean, we are musicians and also your husband works in sound. So it's like transmitting radio frequencies.
Yes.
Transmitting waves.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Which we do today to see if we can get any kind of feedback.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this.
It's fun, huh? And to tie the theory together, we refer to the legends of the Cherokee Native Americans again, who believed that thought beings who are formless would travel on a wave of sound from their home in the Pleiades star system to Earth, which sounds familiar with the Egyptian beliefs.
That's so cool.
Culture to culture.
And this is bringing it back to when we did the abduction story.
Yes.
And they were communicating.
Yes. Telepathically.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't need to talk. Lastly, archaeologists are, oh my God.
Archaeologists?
Why can't I say that word? I have, because
malevolent.
Malevolent. I'm going to add this to my list.
Because words.
Holy cow. Lastly, archaeologists have found precision circular markings drilled into the alabaster along with precise cut red granite blocks that were polished and mounted as facing stones on the pyramid. There are questions as to whether or not Egyptians had access to advanced technology to create the temple. So these are the drill markings that are like precise.
Right.
They didn't have drills and electricity back then, right?
Nope.
And these are the polished stones. Like, how did they get those so smooth and then move them and then know where to put them precisely? Look at that.
Yeah. I don't know. See, this fascinates me because I can't go back and ask them, how did you know to do this?
What did you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why, like, I know, like, whenever we cross into, you know, from this world on to the next,
you're going to be asking so many questions.
I have so many questions. I'm like, you better answer these because this is all I want to know. So that'll be fun. All right.
I want to be with you when you're asking all these questions.
I'm sure I'll find you.
Because I know the way my brain works when I have so many questions and thoughts, and I'm doing it right now. So many questions and thoughts going on in my head. I cannot formulate them. They all try to evacuate my face at the same time.
Evacuate your face.
So I wouldn't be able to ask any questions. I'd just be like,
I'll be your translator.
Thank you. Okay.
Now we're going to go to the United States, and the next location is very strange mystery. And because of the disappearances, we can tie it into this week's episode as it quite possibly could be a portal. We go to Lake Michigan for the Lake Michigan Triangle.
Whoa, there's a triangle in Lake Michigan?
Holy cow.
Oh, I did not know this.
Hold on to your butts.
Okay.
This is fun. Yes, this area is very similar to the Bermuda Triangle, which I won't get to today, but at the end of this, I'll talk about a lot of things. Okay. So there have been many plane crashes and shipwrecks in the area between Manitowoc, Ludington, and Benton Harbor on Lake Michigan. But due to how large this area is, there could be logical explanations behind these. I'm going to dive into the mysterious disappearances that take place on and over Lake Michigan within the supposed triangle, along with the discovery found at the bottom of the lake. Yeah, I didn't know any of this, so I'm excited.
I was excited.
Yeah. The earliest known incident occurred on September 18th, 1679.
Oh, wow.
The Le Griffon was constructed and launched near Cayuga Island on the Niagara River and armed with 7 cannons. It was the largest sailing vessel on the Great Lakes up to that time. Its maiden voyage was August 7th, 1679, with a crew of 32 sailing Lake Erie, Lake Huron, and Lake Michigan while they were still uncharted waters, with the exception of canoes. Canoes have all been on these lakes, but never a big ship like this. It landed on an island in Lake Michigan where they met with the local tribes on Green Bay and traded animal pelts. They then left for Lake Erie, but sadly the ship never arrived at their destination and no confirmed remnants of the ship have ever been located. There are loads of theories, from a storm hitting to Native American tribes invading the ship, murdering the crew, and setting it ablaze. However, there is no substantial evidence for any theory set forth so far.
Where is the ship?
Where did it go? Next, we discuss a 2-masted schooner that was used to transport materials to the House of David in Benton Harbor called the Rosabelle. In 1875, the Rosabelle was discovered by a car ferry as it was crossing the lake. The Rosabelle was floating upside down.
What?
And the 10-man crew that was aboard the ship were never found. The ship was turned over and brought back to her port in Milwaukee. The Coast Guard thought that it was maybe caught in a storm. They got the ship back in service. Then, October 1921, the crew loaded the Rosabelle with potatoes and maple lumber. Yet the ship's captain, Ed Johnson, had a gut feeling and said, nope, didn't board the schooner. Later,
if the captain isn't going, maybe you shouldn't go either.
Right, you should probably listen to him. Yeah. Later, his son had stated that Johnson had a premonition that a disaster was on the horizon.
Wow.
With the crew unable to convince him to board, they left without him. Only days later, they found the ship capsized again with no signs of the crew.
I think there's an issue with the construction of this boat.
It's always upside down, right?
Flipping upside down.
Yep.
It's like, I want to float this way.
I don't like floating upright. Apparently, though, the stern was missing, which indicated that there could have been some sort of collision, but no ship had reported any accidents and no one saw anyone in distress. The U.S. Coast Guard dragged the schooner back into Racine Harbor, and they later determined there was no collision.
What?
So what happened to all the crew?
What? Twice. This is like ghost ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's crazy.
Then there is the true story of Captain George Donner. April 25th, 1937, Captain Donner was steering the O.S. McFarland through frozen Lake Michigan, trying to transport 9,800 tons of coal from Erie, Pennsylvania to Port Washington, Wisconsin. He was a very reliable, well-respected person and was able to successfully navigate the McFarland through the Straits of Mackinac. It was stressful for the captain and even stayed up all night to ensure the safety of the vessel and the crew. Once they got through the straits, he told his first and second mate that he was going to retire to his cabin for some rest and to come get him once they passed Sheboygan and approached Port Washington. I love all the names. Sheboygan. He knew the ins and outs of the lake and said it would take up roughly 3 hours before arrival. He got to his cabin approximately at 10:20 p.m. And one source says he even heard the captain in his room for a few hours as if he was going through paperwork and heard shuffling paper.
Okay.
At 1:20 a.m., the second mate followed the captain's orders and knocked on Captain Donner's door. Strangely, no answer. He called out for the captain and knocked again, but again, no answer. He tried to enter the room, but found it locked from the inside.
Okay.
He was worried the captain would sleep past the point he insisted on, so the second mate went to retrieve a master key. First mate, Charles Riker, was filled in on the situation as they headed towards the captain's room. Riker called out for the captain that he was entering his room, and when they stepped in, they found nothing.
Where did he go?
The bed was made. There was no sign of struggle. There are 2 round port windows in the room, but they were way too small for a man to fit through them, let alone the captain, who was said to be slightly overweight. They thought that maybe Captain Donner went to grab something to eat at some point, so they headed down to the galley to investigate. Once they arrived, they found 2 firemen sitting there finishing up their break, and when asked about Captain Donner, they said they didn't see him at all.
Where did he go?
They then searched the entire ship, checked every room, and he was nowhere to be found. Once they arrived in Wisconsin, the crewmen contacted the proper authorities and notified them that the captain had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The Coast Guard was alerted immediately, and they started their search on the lake soon after. Unfortunately, he was never located.
What happened?
At first,
like, where's Felicia?
Exactly. At first daylight, the rescue mission shifted into body recovery, telling all ships that were on the same route as the OS McFarland to keep an eye out, but his body was never located. He simply vanished into thin air. What happened to Captain Donner?
Captain Donner? Well, okay, that name is ominous because, you know, the Donner Party. But what happened? Where'd he go?
Portal.
Dude. Where did he go?
Isn't that spooky? We have no idea where he went.
Crazy.
We can trace everything up to the point where he got into his room, and it was locked from the inside.
Right. So he had to have gone in and then locked it.
Yeah.
Or somebody was in there and locked it. Where did he go?
But if you lock it from the inside, then
and he didn't get out because like there was nowhere for him to go.
There's nowhere to get out of those windows.
This is a crazy game of hide and seek, Captain Donner.
He hid really, really well.
Ollie, Ollie, Oxenfree.
Next, we go to the event that happened June 23rd, 1950. Northwest Orient Flight 2501 departed LaGuardia, New York at 9:49 p.m. with destination of Seattle, Washington.
Hey!
But a layover was scheduled in Minneapolis, Minnesota. When they reached Cleveland, Captain Robert Lind grew concerned about the storms that lay ahead of them and contacted air traffic control to cruise at an altitude of 4,000 feet. It was approved, but turbulence grew even worse, so he was instructed to drop to 3,500 feet to avoid a crash with another flight that was also reporting violent weather. The other flight was at roughly 5,000 feet. Captain Lind then reported to air traffic control they would arrive in Milwaukee by 11:37 p.m. Alas, the plane didn't reach Milwaukee at that time, nor any other time. Concerned about not hearing from Flight 2501, the U.S. Coast Guard was deployed to search for the missing plane. In the following days, they discovered small body parts, such as ears, hands, and bones, and also small parts of the plane, such as a seat armrest and pieces of upholstery.
What?
They also found a small pair of child's pants, later identified belonging to 8-year-old passenger Chester Schaefer. What's mysterious about this is that no other debris was located. Nothing large, no actual bodies, no plane engine parts, nothing. To this day, Flight 2501 remains the only missing U.S. aircraft in aviation history.
Holy crap, Nicole. What happened? Okay, this is making me think of Nope.
Yes.
Like,
right?
Yeah, because of the storm.
Yeah,
the storm. And then so it was just the alien that like gobbled them up and
burped out some things.
It burped out some pieces. Ears?
Ears.
Bones?
They found ears and little bones, but nothing big. No human body like parts, like complete parts. Like, where are they?
Oh my gosh.
Now, there are theories floating around, one from the Michigan Shipwreck Research Association, that they are 100% sure weather took down the ship. And in 2020, they believe they narrowed down the exact location the ship went down. However, still nothing has been located except the initial small debris they found.
We're 100% sure it went down here.
Right?
Okay, where is it
Where
then?
is it?
Oh
Can't find
my
it.
gosh. Nicole!
Could they have crashed into the lake due to weather? Could the plane have been struck by lightning and disintegrated the plane with the exception of the few things they did find? Or did they fly through a portal? Or were they taken by a UFO?
I would hate that they flew through a portal and then somebody didn't get their ears.
Yeah. Right?
That's so weird, Nicole.
There's so many theories floating around, but as mentioned, what we do know is that Flight 2501 is still recognized as missing.
What?
That's sad.
I don't like it.
That's so sad.
Wait, when did it go missing? What year again?
1950.
1950. Okay. the 50s were a hotbed for alien activity.
That's when it all became really big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Creepy, right? Nicole.
I know, Lake Michigan, man. Now, while there are many crashes and wrecks found in Lake Michigan, the last unexplained case happened on July 3rd, 1998. Donald Schaller was flying a two-seat Aero L-39 Albatross, which is a single-engine jet plane used as a military trainer by Eastern European countries. Schaller was 48 years old at the time, a veteran pilot planning to participate in his first air show at the National Cherry Festival in Traverse City, Michigan. Flying with him was Donovan Rodriguez, a flight instructor at Northwestern Michigan College since the 1970s. They took off from Cherry Capital Airport and was roughly 27 miles out when he radioed in that they were heading back around 6 p.m. Flight controllers were expecting to hear from Schaller where he was 5 miles out, but they did not. And the plane disappeared from the radar.
Uh-oh.
Around 9 p.m., Coast Guard helicopters were dispatched from Traverse City to start looking for the craft. Over the next few days, the crew equipped with night vision goggles scanned the waters of Lake Michigan. Along with them were a Canadian C-130 cargo airplane and the Blue Angels C-130. Also on the lake, a Coast Guard utility boat along with planes searched the area between North Manitou and South Fox Islands. Yet, there was no sign of the albatross, no oil slicks, debris, nothing.
Where did it go, Nicole?
And this search covered over 1,900 square miles.
Holy crap. And I know it's a great lake, and I know Lake Michigan is huge.
But
still, like,
with all the technology,
it's a finite space that, and this is 98.
Yes. So we could have found it. If
we had the technology. Yes. That's great. Where'd it go?
The search was called off July 9th, and since then, no wreckage has turned up to this day. Even underwater sonar searches have come up with nothing.
Dude.
Now, I want to note that in 2007, archaeologists discovered something fascinating in the depths of Lake Michigan.
What'd they find?
While scanning for shipwrecks in the Grand Traverse Bay, approximately 40 feet below, they discovered a prehistoric surprise. A series of stones that was obviously arranged by man or at least intelligent life.
Oh.
You will see all over sources that it is Stonehenge-like, quote unquote. And even more exciting, there's a prehistoric carving of a mastodon. So
what?
There's one stone exactly has a mastodon.
What? Yes. What? What? How? What? That is...
Words.
I know. It's just mind-boggling.
In the Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan, man.
There are so many claims stating that this underwater find is the root of all the strange events that happen in and above Lake Michigan. Skeptics say quite the opposite, that the formation is in a straight line, so most likely it could be something to corral animals or a sort of fence. Scientists believe this petroglyph may be over 10,000 years old.
Yeah. Why is it at the bottom of a lake?
Well, obviously it wasn't a lake at one point.
Right.
Yeah. But still.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. And it's making me think of all of the stories of the alien ships coming from the water.
Yes, the water, which I will want to do one day because I love that idea too, because our oceans are so vast. Like, it's scary. We haven't even scratched the surface with our oceans.
Right.
So who knows what's down there, right?
Who knows?
That's so crazy. I'm going to go a little kind of in topic, off topic, but Stonehenge. I got to talk about it.
Okay.
But some think that this 5,000-year-old stone monument was created to act as a portal or communication with the gods. But unlike other stargates or doorways I discussed earlier, there isn't much evidence to support any myths or legends that may have done this.
Right.
There is a rumor that in 1971, a group of hippies disappeared at 2 a.m. when they entered the center of Stonehenge. However, there is no evidence or trace of these disappeared people to support that story. So no, that's a fake. Okay?
Right.
But there are some 5 cool theories. I just do want to touch on Stonehenge. Okay. 1, a place for burial. Okay. Bone fragments were found over a century ago around the site, and roughly 63 separate individuals were exhumed. The theory is that they were buried around 3000 BC and that the stones were brought from Wales to mark the graves. So that's one theory.
Oh.
2, some people believe that Stone Age folk saw Stonehenge as a place with healing properties. In 2008, archaeologists Gregory Wainwright and Timothy Darville found a large number of skeletons again around Stonehenge with signs of illness or injury. Also, they discovered that ancient people had chipped away at the large blue stones from the site. The theory for that is they use these chipped blue stones for talismans or protective or healing purposes.
Taking a piece of Stonehenge with them.
Exactly. Yeah. 3, a fun theory is that Stonehenge's circular construction was created to mimic a sound illusion. Stonehenge indeed has amazing acoustics, and that the circle would have caused sound reverberation similar to a modern day cathedral or concert hall.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a fun theory. 4, a celestial observatory. An avenue connecting the monument with nearby river Avon lies with the sun in the winter solstice. And there's archaeological evidence that pigs were slaughtered at Stonehenge in December and January, reflecting possible celebrations of rituals around the winter solstice.
Okay.
That makes sense, right?
That makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah. 5, which was hilarious. Lastly, it was possibly a team building exercise. I was like, oh, way to make this corporate.
All the BCE people like, we need team building exercise. Let's go.
So since Stonehenge was a massive undertaking that required the labor of thousands to move the stones as far as west of Wales, the work itself required an act of unification.
Yeah.
No. I was like, what? It's such a weird corporation idea.
Yeah, no.
So again, I just wanted to reiterate that Stonehenge, while it's still cool and mysterious, it's most likely not a portal.
Yeah.
As much as we want it to think, because that's the stories. There's so many fantasy stories that it is, but
right.
I don't think so.
I don't think Stonehenge is either. I think it is holy ground.
Yes.
But I don't think that it was a portal.
Or Stargate. Yeah.
Yeah, or Stargate. Because there's no stories of disappearance that support that.
Except what's that show? Outlander.
Oh, well.
I like that show. It's
cute.
So they use Stonehenge as that kind of idea, but
but
again, fantasy for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, let's travel to Arivaca, Arizona. Where we have a story from treasure hunters over 2 years from the 1950s, according to Ron Quinn.
1950s. Okay.
Yep. That's when everything starts. Okay. So Ron was 23 and his brother Chuck was 26 and left Tacoma, Washington.
Hey.
March 20th, 1956. Within 3 weeks of their treasure hunting in Arizona, they were camping close to the Tumacacori Mountains when they noticed 2 large balls of blue-green lights descending behind the mountains several miles away. Ron had left the military recently and knew that these were not flares, and there was no sound from an aircraft that broke the silence. They vanished within minutes. Then the following night, at the same exact time, the lights appeared again in the same exact location. A few days later, they made friends with a local cowboy. Ron and Chuck told him their story, and they said they have seen the same lights in the same spot since 1939.
Dude, what?
1939.
That's 11 years, because if it's 1950, did I do my math?
1956.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like 1950.
You almost had that there. Yeah, but for a while, yes.
Okay.
And over the months, the brothers saw them several more times.
Wow.
So I touch up on this because it ties in, we think. Then one day, after making friends with a local Native American after helping him with a flat tire, he told them a story of a mysterious stone archway. Legend was that in the 1800s, 3 Native Americans were hunting, and upon returning to their village, they discovered this stone archway. They were in a good mood and so started playing and chasing one another through the opening. But soon after, one jumped through but never emerged from the opposite side.
Whoa!
They had become so scared they found some sacred ground of the gods, so the remaining 2 fled back to their village. Upon arrival, they told the medicine man about the third vanishing. The story spread and other villagers traveled to gaze upon the stone structure. They would throw rocks through the doorway, but nothing happened. Until an elderly woman approached and tossed in a live rabbit, which quickly vanished.
Whoa! Okay, this reminds me of Thor when they find the, you know what I'm talking about? Where they find the portal. Was that Thor 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So good. I love it.
Exactly. They all backed off in fear and spread the story of this doorway to the gods. The Native American friend telling the story said he had been to the site on many occasions, but the only time he witnessed something strange was in 1948 after a big storm had blown in. As he rode past the archway, he noticed the sky through its opening was blue with no clouds visible. He dismounted his horse, walked toward the stone archway, and peered through. The mountains on the other side hadn't changed, but the sky was clear opposite of where he was.
What?
He was struck with fear and rode off. They asked why hadn't the archway been investigated if the story was true? And he replied only his people knew of the story and never mentioned outside the tribe. The only reason why he was sharing with the brothers was because they had shown kindness while he was stranded beside the highway.
Yeah.
The brothers decided to make a trip to this gateway of the gods with two other treasure hunters, Roy Purdy and Walter Fisher. It was a rough trip, but they made it. Upon their arrival of the gateway area, they found an enormous deposit of geodes. It was all over the ground, was littered with them. His theory is that something has to do with those geodes and the gateway, but he doesn't know for sure.
Okay.
Side note.
Okay.
When they started to measure the archway, they found it to be 7 feet high and 5 feet wide.
That's pretty similar to the other ones.
Exactly.
Okay.
The columns were about 15 inches in diameter, and they believed they were made of andesite, a type of volcanic rock. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yes. Okay.
They tested the archway by throwing rocks, and even Ron tried sticking his arm through and played around, but nothing happened after several hours. Before finishing their expedition at the Arivaca ranch where they were all staying, Ron recalls one night being very still and quiet. The livestock became restless as they were about to go to sleep. They suddenly heard the sound of horses, many horses. When the sound became extremely loud, they all ducked for cover, thinking the horses were going to stampede through the camp. While the sounds became extremely loud, they all ducked for cover, thinking the horses were going to stampede through the camp.
Yeah.
But when the rumbling reached the opposite side of a nearby canyon, the sounds mysteriously stopped altogether.
What?
The next morning, they searched the area but found no evidence of horses.
Dude.
They believed that the archway may have given them a glimpse of the land centuries ago when it was covered with wild horses.
Oh.
That would spook me out.
That's cool. Ghost horses.
Ghost horses. One day, their friends Walt and Roy went to the stone portal to collect some geodes for friends in Tucson.
Walt and Roy Disney?
No. They could have been. You never know. When they looked toward the archway, both claimed to have seen it shimmer. This lasted for several minutes before it slowly faded. Both also said that while the gateway shimmered, they felt a strange pressure within their ears.
Oh.
And no, this wasn't in the middle of summer when heat waves dance and shimmer.
That's what I was going to ask.
This was mid-January and the temperature was only 60 or so.
Oh, yeah. So no, that would definitely not shimmer.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Roy never returned back to that site.
No, he's probably pooping his
scared.
pants.
Yeah. There are also so many other stories Ron shares about the mysterious archway, and plenty of websites post his story. Sadly, the archway top had collapsed, leaving just the columns erect, and still only shared location with very close friends. But I'll leave the Gateway of the Gods with one last experience Ron had in 1973 when he had moved to Tucson.
Okay.
During one of our 2-week adventures, I found myself near the canyon that leads towards that oddball site. Not having been there in almost 4 years, I decided to pay it a visit. The canyon was just as rugged as ever. After climbing and slipping among the boulders, I finally arrived at the steep hill leading to the site above. It's a long, weary climb, so I paused for a breather halfway up. I sat on the slope facing north. To my left, which was west, the steep hill followed the canyon perhaps a mile, but something was definitely wrong. Below to my left was a canyon where none had existed. Curious, I made my way down, entering it from the east side, so I thought. I soon discovered I was in the same canyon that led toward the hill I had just scaled. I was more than 250 yards back down the canyon on a different slope, and now I was facing south. I had mysteriously been transported to the new location.
Oh, no.
Thinking I was looking west, I was really looking east, seeing the canyon I had just hiked.
I'd be so mad.
Right?
What
is going on?
That.
There was no way on earth I could have reached this other slope while climbing the original hill. Knowing where I was, suddenly I knew why this had happened. Any skepticism I had about this crazy sight vanished. I was apprehensive about continuing and should have departed the area immediately, but curiosity led me on. I made the grueling climb once again, passing the spot where minutes before I had been resting. I realized that if something within the site caused my teleportation, I might not even be in my own time. What a frightening thought that was. I felt somewhat alarmed over the incident that occurred. Soon, I arrived at the site and looked around. Everything appeared normal. No shimmering effects, lights, or other odd observations were observed. However, I noticed how silent it was. Not a breeze, a bird call, nothing. Looking down, I saw the hairs on my arms standing straight up like being near static electricity. I began feeling uneasy and decided to leave. Spooky teleportation in the wrong area that you don't want to be in, like, for crying out loud.
That's the worst kind of teleportation, because like you're climbing this hill that's like very hard
steep
to climb,
and rugged.
Yeah, you just want to do it once.
You want to
don't
get
want
up
to do it again.
No, and he happened to have to do it again.
Start over.
The poor guy.
Oh, that's
so mean.
Oh, that's the worst kind of teleportation.
Right?
But that's a crazy story, Nicole.
Yeah. So this was the gate in Arizona that we don't know exactly where it is. It's in those mountains, but I thought that was such a fascinating story.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I like that the sky was different on the other side. That one.
I like that
part
too.
was cool.
Seeing a totally different like skyscape, even though the land is the same.
Right.
That's spooky. Before we leave story time,
okay,
I'm almost done. Please note that I know I only discussed the Lake Michigan Triangle, but at some point I'm going to discuss the other mysterious triangles around the world, such as, which I never knew of, the Dragon's Triangle in the Pacific Ocean between Japan and the Philippines.
Woo!
The Bennington Triangle in the Green Mountains of Vermont, the Bridgewater Triangle located in southeastern Massachusetts, the Alaskan Triangle, and the most infamous Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, how cool.
Isn't that amazing? All these different like little triangular areas that are just little portals or like areas that are different. So
this is so cool. I'm so glad that we started the whole conversation with portals, because it's very fascinating.
Right?
Because what are they? Who created them?
Exactly.
They are real. I mean, because people do go missing. And it's funny. I know we aren't talking about the Bermuda Triangle today.
Right.
But I literally just watched yesterday a YouTube clip of somebody going to Bermuda to see if the Bermuda Triangle is real. You know, YouTubers, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But he decided to start his quest by talking to local fishermen there. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's real. Here are our friends that are missing because they fished too close to the Bermuda Triangle and they disappeared.
And they're gone.
And so they have all these like little plaques from their friends that have gone there. Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
So, and then that's all of the YouTube video that I watched, because then I'm sure my kids were like, Mom! And then, you have to go answer the mom call. But
I get it.
I mean, people go missing all the time in these specific areas and in these specific ways. And then there are like ancient buildings. And I've got to take a minute here because I was snapping a lot of pictures. You may have heard my phone go click a bunch of times because my dog and my cat are spooning. And it's the cutest thing ever. They've never done this before. So they've been spooning this whole time.
Adorable.
It's so cute.
Good job.
So I took a bunch of pictures.
I just took a couple too now.
We can share it with our listeners. If you guys want to see any of the pictures of my dog and cat spooning, you can jump over to any of our socials. I'm sure it'll be on Instagram. You can also find us on Podbean, where we're going to post all of our show notes, and sure, we'll post a picture there in our show notes if we want to. But you can see all these cool portals that we talked about today. all these ancient like creation. It's just fascinating to me.
It's so neat.
There's so much to cover.
So mysterious. That's what my main word for all of this is just so mysterious. We don't know anything. I wish we could understand everything back 4,000 years ago, but
if you have any stories about any portals, you can share with them at theominousstitch@gmail.com. Or like I was saying before, you can go over to our podbean.com, The Ominous Stitch Podcast. And you can look up any of our show notes and see what these portals actually look like. If you visited them, we want to know about it. If you have any stories about anything about portals, we want to know about those too. So email us. Jump over to Podbean, become a patron. Maybe we'll do some spin-off patron episodes about more portals that we wouldn't necessarily cover on our podcast. We do patron episodes now, so go check them out. We have one up right now about black-eyed kids, which is so scary. So become a patron if you'd like. If not, we just want to connect with you. So contact us on any of our socials, or again, at theominousstitch@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys because we love you guys and we love our little community.
We love our community.
This is so fascinating.
So much fun.
So cool.
Yep.
Okay, so we have one more portal to talk about in the movie that we watched.
It's movie time.
It's movie time.
This week's movie review is Old, released in 2021. IMDb rating of 5.8 stars. And the synopsis. A vacationing family discovers that the secluded beach where they're relaxing for a few hours is somehow causing them to age rapidly, reducing their entire lives into a single day. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know until I saw him driving the bus, and I was like,
He's always in his movies, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. So when this movie came out, you told me about it.
Yes.
Did you watch it on
HBO?
HBO.
I did.
Okay,
this was about when it was 2021. So it was released probably in end of 21, 22. So that's when I watched it.
Yeah. You were buzzing about it. You're like, this movie is crazy. It's so
weird, right?
Like the concept behind it is really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that M. Night Shyamalan creates different types of movie concepts constantly. Like, I mean, we're going to review another one soon. Or we did, The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense.
And
we just did
it. Duh. And I mean, that's such a far cry from, paranormal mediums and ghosts to this like crazy sorry cat got mad. But this like crazy landscape where you can't escape it, and it's aging people, like two different completely storylines, right? But so much fun and so creative. Like I've never heard of something like this ever, right? Like
getting stuck on a beach that ages you. And the way that they explained it, it's like the rocks kind of have this X-ray effect that age your cells,
right?
So it was interesting the way that they were able to kind of put it in scientific terms, so it wasn't that paranormal, although it is, but they had an explanation for why this is happening.
You find out at the end. Spoiler alert, you find out, and it's this pharmaceutical people like testing on people, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But how did they I want to know, how did they find this beach in the first place?
You can't get off the beach once you're there. So how did
you have no cell phone reception?
Yeah.
Like, how did they find this beach?
How did they find the beach?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. So that's crazy. And then two, the fact that, I mean, again, spoiler alert, that the coral is the one thing that saves them. Like, what the hell? Like, how did they know? Like,
because of the decoded message.
Yes, but how did the little boy know? You just said my uncle's scared.
Uncle doesn't like the coral. That's all it said. My uncle doesn't like the coral. And so they were like, well, might as well try it.
Right? Because they didn't know any other way to get off this beach.
Yeah.
They tried to swim off of it. They tried to go back. They kept walking. She tried to climb and she fell. Like, even climbing it, right?
Yeah.
It's creepy. But anyway, so I'm sure you've seen it now, or because we keep talking about it. But these families all meet up on this beach because they're told by the hotel that they're staying at, which was crazy. Like they got it was like she was a winner, right?
She won a contest.
Yay. And I didn't even know where they are. Where did they even say exactly where they are?
Just some tropical island, some secluded tropical island somewhere. I don't know if
we don't know exactly, right? And so, but basically they're all chosen because they're all sick.
Yes.
And so they want to research how the beach has an effect on these sick people, but obviously killing them all at the same time for their research.
So they're able to do a trial that should last
Oh, you're
years.
right. You're right. Yeah.
It should last years and years and years and
years. They gave them some medicine in the drinks, right?
They give them medicine in the drinks. And one of them is an anti-seizure medicine.
It all pointed to this. I swear the universe was trying to tell me something. So, but yeah, the anti-seizure, she didn't have a seizure at all on the beach until like she died. Right?
Yeah. And so that was like, she was
breakthrough,
technically seizure free for
a certain amount of time.
Yeah. For what equated to 9 hours on the beach, but it was really like 20 years or something like that.
Right. It was like, what was it? 1 hour equals 3 days or something like that. No.
No. It's years.
1 hour is 3 years.
Yeah. Maybe like dogs. 1 hour is 7 years.
Almost.
I don't know.
It was close to that.
It's long.
But it was so crazy to see the evolution in this short amount of time of all these people. It was like, that's scary. And the guy losing his brain, his mental capacity, the doctor, and the little kids giving birth. Like, what the hell?
Like I put the baby down for 1 minute, but that 1 minute was like days.
Yeah.
And so it didn't eat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know. So insane.
I know.
So I chose this because we didn't want to watch Stargate, by the way. Wasn't spooky enough for us. Mm-hmm. But and the acting was really good. I thought they chose some pretty good actors for this. It was random to me. Like,
it was.
Because the Asian guy, I forgot his name already, the actor.
Yeah.
But he's recognizable. The main family is, the girl. Do you recognize the girl?
Yes. Why do I know her? Who is she?
Last Night in Soho.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love her voice.
That's why
but
she
doesn't have her British accent.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, she's very yes.
Yeah,
okay.
She was good.
Yes.
And then obviously Hereditary is the kid.
And then the guy who plays her brother when he's older is
from Hereditary.
From Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good actor.
Exactly.
And
what you were
Jumanji.
saying. And Jumanji. Yes.
But then they get even older, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the dad is famous too the doctor, who loses his brain, his mental capacity. What's his name? Rufus Sewell.
Yes.
Yeah, he was good.
He's in Knight's Tale.
There you go. I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
So
crazy movie that you just want to figure everything out, right? Like you're like, what is going on? That's how I felt this whole time. I'm like, what the F? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And I liked watching it again. It was actually really fun.
Yeah, it was. I knew the concept of it because you told me about it, so I knew that they were going to be aging on the beach,
right?
And I knew that
the movie's called Old.
The movie's called Old, and I knew they were going to be stuck there. But you didn't really tell me much more than that, so it was really cool to see the whole story of it, and because it's M. Night Shyamalan, there's always some twist and some turns, and
the
you
personalities,
never know where they're coming from, and so it was quite interesting and quite cool.
Good. Well, so it's on HBO, like we said, if you have HBO.
Yeah, free on HBO.
Yeah. And I could stitch to it.
Yeah, I definitely made my shawl.
Yay! Oh, good. So how many stitches would you give it?
I would give it, I think it needs a higher stitch rating than 5.8.
Okay.
I think, for me, it's like 7.
Okay. I see you. Yeah, I'll stay with you. 7.
Hey!
I was almost 6.5. I was like, no, 7. It was still pretty entertaining. So.
Yeah,
good movie.
That was good. Yay! So that means we recommend Old. Go watch Old.
Yep, go watch it.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a fun episode.
You had a good time?
Yeah, I had a great time. I am always speechless about this because there's so many questions and they can't come out of my mouth and they get stuck in my brain. But I think it's so cool.
Yes.
It's such a cool concept. Is it ancient aliens? How did we know how to do all of this stuff?
Do we have Stargates?
These portals real?
Yeah. I think there's got to be some sort of truth behind there, but again, we don't know.
I mean, anytime that a similar story pops up in different parts of the world,
exactly,
in ancient times where they did not communicate with each other,
right?
How do they know how to do these things? How are these stories and experiences so similar?
Before I leave, also, one last thing I wanted to say that I totally forgot to include was that in the ancient aliens and the portals and stargates, if you're looking at them, there's some hieroglyphs in Egypt where there are pictures of helicopters and ships or planes and airplanes and things like that.
Yeah.
How? That blew my mind. I'm like, there's no way that's not a helicopter. It looks exactly 100% like a helicopter.
Yeah.
Where the hell did that come from?
Right? Yeah.
So there you go. So who knows?
Who knows?
It's crazy.
It's just fascinating.
Yep.
Oh, this is such another fun episode.
Yay!
So if you guys enjoyed it, let us know. And we want to talk to you guys. And until next time, we'll see you, Stitchers.
See you, Stitchers.